Stephen Herbert Goldberg, born June 23rd, 1960, in Houston, Texas. Yes, Steve is one of the last of a dying breed, a native Houstonian. And you know, when you spend 25 years of your life in one place, you meet a lot of people and make a lot of very close friends. So tonight, through the magic of amateur video, we will attempt to show you the phenomenal impact Steve has had on the city of Houston. Steve Goldberg is?
Never heard of him.
I think you don't know Steve Goldberg.
I've heard the name, but it doesn't ring the bell right now.
How long have you been in Houston?
About 14 years.
And you don't know who Steve Goldberg is?
I don't.
Okay. He surfs? How long has he been surfing?
2 years.
And have you seen him surf before?
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Steve Goldberg.
Okay. Who Steve Goldberg is?
No, I sure don't.
Do you know who Steve Goldberg is?
No.
No?
Yeah.
You do know who he is?
No.
You don't?
Yeah.
You do or you don't?
I don't.
Do you know Steve Goldberg?
Steve Goldberg? He owes me money.
Funniest thing Steve ever said to me.
Right.
Steve Goldberg.
Right.
Steve was never a funny guy to me.
I agree.
You know, Steve was not what you'd call a witty person.
Goldberg is.
Steve Goldberg.
Steve Goldberg.
It's a breakfast cereal.
Do you know who Steve Goldberg is?
No.
Excuse me, sir, do you know who Steve Goldberg is?
No, I don't.
How long have you been in Houston?
Since 1968.
There's got to be somebody in the city of Houston that really knows Steve. Wait, I've got it. Mr. Goldberg, how are you? Long time no see. Let's go talk. We made ourselves comfortable out by the pool. Mr. Goldberg couldn't wait to tell me all about Steve. Okay, so here we are talking to the father of the groom. Mr. Goldberg, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Good. And we're happy that you can let us talk to you for a little while today.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, very good. We just want to find out a little bit about Steve when he was a child. Was he a troublemaker when he was a little boy?
No, he just liked to eat a lot.
Did he play sports?
Oh yeah, he always liked sports.
And what about collecting birds? Did he collect birds?
Yes, he did. We had a couple of birds once, and he trained them that when he called them, they came over and they stayed on his head and nibbled on his ears.
And do you have any old pictures of Steve laying around the house?
Oh yeah, I have many of them.
And do you think we could take a look at some?
Yes, you can.
Feelings like I've never lost you, and feelings like I've never had you again in my heart. Feelings for my life, I'll feel it. I've never met you, girl. You'll never come again. Feelings like I've never lost you, and feelings like I'll never have you again in my life.
Mr. Goldberg could have gone on for hours, but there was one question I had to ask. And did Steve have any nicknames when he was a child?
I guess they called him the Slammer.
Yeah, and do you know why they called him that?
No, I don't.
And during the weekends when he used to go out with Low Bézier, where did they like to go?
To Malibu Center.
Yeah. Malibu Fun Center. Good times, good games, good memories. Do you know Steve Goldberg?
A slammer? What's he up to?
He's getting married.
A slammer getting married? Way to go, Slammer.
Do you know Steve Goldberg?
Yeah, the Slammer, yeah. What's he up to?
He's getting married.
Is that right? The Slammer's getting married? Way to go, Slammer.
Do you know Steve Goldberg?
Oh, yeah, the Slammer. What's he doing?
Steve's getting married.
The Slammer getting married? Way to go, Slammer.
Finally, we talked to this man, John Smith, the manager here at Malibu. He could have gone on for hours about Steve, but there was one question I had to ask. And when he was here, did he play a lot of games?
Sure, the Slammer, he loved Miss Pac-Man. That was his best game. I think he still holds the record here, like 500,386.
That's amazing. Still today, he has the record.
Sure does. Best I've ever seen.
What about cars? Did he drive the cars?
Oh, he loved the car, too. It was fantastic. He'd turn 53 seconds all day.
Did you know that Steve's getting married soon?
Shit, the Slammer's getting married?
Yeah, he's getting married. Would you like to say anything to him?
Sure, we at Malibu Fun Center wish you the best of luck, Slammer. By the way, is he marrying that girl that he brought here after prom?
He brought a girl to Malibu after the prom?
Yeah, they had a great time right before they went to the beach.
We searched the beach for hours and found nothing. On a hunch, we went to the mall. We found this guy. Excuse me, what is your name?
Officer Bob.
And do you know Steve Goldberg?
Oh, the Slammer? Yeah, I met him the other night on the beach.
And can you tell us exactly what happened?
Yes, sir. They were out on the beach the night of the prom.
And were they doing anything illegal?
No, they had just been drinking a little bit, and they were causing a small disturbance.
So what did you tell them?
I told them they would have to leave the beach immediately.
And were they cooperative?
Yes, sir. They were very cooperative.
Well, that doesn't surprise me a bit. And by the way, did you know that Steve's getting married?
Slammer's getting married. Way to go, Slammer.
Steve's tapes.
This one's for you, wherever I go, to say the things I should.
You know, before I got my driver's license, Steve would drive me everywhere. And the amazing thing is that Steve knew these streets like the back of his hand. Steve's high school days came to a close here at Bel Air High School, where although he did not attend the commencement ceremonies, he did graduate. Do you know of anything memorable that happened during his time at Bel Air?
No, I don't.
After graduating from Bel Air High School, Steve went on to spend a year at the University of Houston and then 3 years at Rice University, where, although as usual he did not attend the commencement ceremonies, he did graduate. In fact, Steve gave us directions on how to get to both those lovely campuses from here. Follow me. As usual, Steve's directions were crystal clear. Needless to say, we didn't make it to the University of Houston or the Rice University campus. But then again, more often than not, neither did Steve. Steve's wardrobe. As you know, Steve is now attending Southwestern Medical School in Dallas. And something that's always puzzled me, and probably most of you out there, why did Steve choose to pursue a career in medicine?
I don't remember so well, but I think one time I can recall he saw a crippled boy on the street, and this made him decide to become a doctor.
Crippled boy, a likely story. Steve's pool.
Hold that water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Hold that water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on?
Mike, Carol, do you have any amusing anecdotes you'd like to share with us about Steve?
No.
Well, would you like to make any up?
Sure, I always try.
For instance?
Oh, when we were growing up, Steve was always just a great little brother. Just fantastic. I remember one time a friend came over and we were trading our thousands of baseball card collection. We had them in separate piles, and since Steve didn't have any and he had to be the great little brother, he came and mixed them all up so that we didn't know whose was whose. So we got into one of our many fights, and I don't know how it happened, but somehow Steve's head ended up in the toilet, and he's never forgiven me for that one.
And how long ago did this happen?
Oh, must have been about 2 weeks ago.
And Carol, how did you meet Steve?
Well, I met Steve up in Austin. It was one time when you and he both came up to Austin, and we all went out to dinner, and I thought that you were Steve and that Steve was you. And as I understand it, neither of y'all has ever forgiven me for that.
That's true. And how long ago did that happen?
That was about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. And Mike, did Steve have any nicknames as he was growing up?
Well, I know some of his friends now call him the Slammer, but I had my own nickname for him. I called him the Shit-Eye Kid.
And I assume that there's a story behind that.
There's always a story. When we were little, we were watching a Western on TV. And some guy on the show came on, said he was tired and he wanted to get some shut-eye. So Steve heard that, and he either heard it wrong or couldn't say it. And to him, the word was shit-eye. So a friend would come over and he goes, "I'm going to get some shit-eye." And I told him, "Steve, don't say that, just be quiet." And that was Steve. That was a big mistake. From then on, anytime he was mad at me and we were in public, he'd start screaming out as loud as he could, "Shit-eye, shit-eye, shit-eye," just to embarrass me. And that's why I call him the Shit-Eye Kid.
And I assume that happened about 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago? No, I told you that's when we were young kids. 2 weeks. It's pretty dumb, Joel.
Okay, and Carol, when you think of Steve, you pretty much think of tact. Would you agree with that?
No. One time we had him over for dinner. It was one of the holidays, and I had cooked all day long and made this big fancy dinner. And when we were eating, Steve looked over and said, "Carol, this is really good." And that made me feel really good, you know, getting a compliment and everything. The next thing I know, he tells me, "Carol, I think I'm going to throw up."
And did he?
No, he didn't, but he did have an interesting experience that night.
An interesting story? Can you tell us about it?
Well, yeah, that very night, Steve ended up spending 3 hours in his car.
And what was that?
Well, he had locked himself out of the house, and he didn't want to go over to Robin's because he hadn't taken a shower.
Just because he hadn't taken a shower, he wouldn't go over to Robin's?
Well, I guess now you know the other reason why we called him the Shit-Eye Kid.
And in closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the newlyweds?
Yes, I hope, Steve and Robin, that y'all have a happy marriage and that you have children soon so that our parents leave us alone about that.
And when do you think they should have kids?
Oh, probably About 2 weeks ago.
Sure, Steve's brother and sister-in-law know he's getting married, but does anybody else? Does the name Steve Goldberg mean anything to you?
Not a thing.
How long have you been in Houston?
8 years.
And you don't know who Steve Goldberg is?
No.
If I told you he was getting married, would you care?
No.
No.
He's getting married. Would you like to give him any advice on his marriage? Talking to the camera, Steve.
Don't get married.
Excuse me, sir. Do you know who Steve Goldberg is?
Who, what?
Do you know who Steve Goldberg is?
No, we don't.
Did you know he's getting married?
No, we did not.
What advice would you give to him?
Go ahead.
And what advice would you give to Steve in his wedding? Say, Steve.
Oh, his wedding? Oh, think twice. Think twice, Steve. Really be sure. This could be the most important move that you ever make.
Steve, how old are you?
Steve.
Steve's not here to answer, but he's 25.
Steve, wait. Wait.
Girls, did you know that Steve Goldberg is getting married?
Oh, no. Steve! Oh, Steve is getting married, Connie.
Oh,
Steve!
wow, God,
Steve!
Steve Goldberg getting married.
No, I will not believe this.
That's
Steve is not. Girl, Connie, you remember that time we went to the beach?
Oh,
Steve?
wow.
No, not Steve. Not Steve.
Wow.
Are you serious?
He's getting married.
Who's he marrying?
He's marrying Robin. Yes, Robin. Robin Rosenberg. How could a nice girl like this fall for a guy like Steve? He must have dazzled her with his boyish charm. Or did he?
Hello? Yes, this is Robin. Steve? Steve who? Oh, from the party last night. What do you look like? I met so many people. We talked about what? Astrology? Oh, astronomy. For an hour? I don't remember that. Wait, I know. You're the really funny guy that was telling all those jokes about nuns. Yeah, you're the tall blonde guy, right? Oh, you're not blonde. Oh, you're not tall. Well, are you at least funny? Oh, you are? Well, I feel really rotten. I don't remember you. What were you wearing? An orange t-shirt and blue cowboy boots? Oh, you're the guy with the hairy knuckles. Now I remember. What was your name again? Steve Goldberg? Well, who gave you my number? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's pretty cloudy over here, too. My major? Management. I'm rooming with Win Rubin. Why? Well, if I had to choose, I guess it would be blues. Music? I like all kinds. But there happen to be 4 bands that I really detest. Well, The Who for one, yes, the Moody Blues, and if I had my way, Barry Manilow would get his tongue caught in a thresher. Oh, you don't like those bands either? What a coincidence. What's that? No, I forgot what percentage of Rhodesians speak Italian. Okay, what is Motor Trend's car of the year? A blue Vega? Really? Nothing much, just watching TV. What are you doing? Teaching yourself electronics? Fascinating. Well, Steve, I'm really glad you called, but I need to wash my hair. What was that? Don't mumble. You want to do what Saturday night? Play tennis and go dancing? Well, I was going to stay at my friend's beach house in Galveston, but I guess I could reschedule that. What was that? No, you won't be needing a library card. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Imagine that. From an orange t-shirt and blue cowboy boots to a tuxedo and tails, miracles never cease. Steve's secret.
Every man wants to be a macho, macho man. To have this kind of body, always in demand. Jogging in the mornings, go man go. Workouts in the health spa, muscles glow. Hey, 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 hey. Macho, macho, macho man, yeah. I got to be a macho. I got to be a macho, macho man.
You know Steve Goldberg?
The Slammer? What's he up to?
He's getting married.
What? The Slammer's getting married?
No shit.
Way to go, Slammer.
Seriously though, Mr. Misyafi, tell me what your first impression of Steve was.
Well, the way he dressed.
And that was good?
Different.
In what way, Mr. Yaffe?
Well, he was always neat. He's always neat. His hair showed a lot, though, but he was very neat.
It's hard to not have a T-shirt be neat.
Well, he always had different names on his T-shirts, different school names and names of the groups he belonged to.
And what were some of those groups?
Well, I think that's how we originally met Steve. He was in a group called Lobe. That's how David got to know him, and then David, he had no place else to go one night, so he brought Steve home. And they played Boggle for about, how many days in a row?
Many.
Quite a few days. And then they switched to, Steve was always very competitive, very competitive.
I never knew that, was he?
Oh, yeah, he was really competitive. Good at sports, great at baseball, until he burned up our damn television.
Are there any stories that you could share with Steve, something that everybody else would like to hear about, an amusing story about Steve?
Well, I vaguely remember Steve swimming in the nude in our backyard when his clothes were taken from him.
Was this a pretty regular occurrence?
I don't remember that one time. I think he was afraid to come back after that.
And I'm sure this was a learning experience for your daughters?
Yes, one was in the house and one was in the pool. I've never gotten the story straight on who was where, but we do remember Steve hiding in the corner.
And he was pretty hard to find in the bushes?
Well, from what one of my daughters said, it wasn't much of a learning experience, though.
And what effect did this have on the filter in the pool?
It stopped up. Joel, midget wrestling is about to start. Can we cut this short?
I think that goes without saying. This video's about Steve. Okay, in closing, is there anything you'd like to say to Steve on this happy occasion?
No.
Mrs. Yaffe?
Yes, I'd like to wish Robin and the Slammer the best of luck always.
Steve's other secret.
I'm just a boy in love.
Steve the Slammer Goldberg getting married? I could tell you stories you wouldn't believe. Way to go, Slammer.
Well, Steve, unless something really spectacular happens to me in the next 24 hours, you're going to be the first one to get married. And I must say that I'm so excited. It's just a thrill to see a close friend getting married, especially to a girl as great as Robin. Steve, I'm having a bit of a problem putting this into words, so why don't I just say it in a song?
Stuck on you. Got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't lose. Guess I'm on my way. Needing a friend, and the way I feel now, I guess I'll be with you till the end. Guess I'm on my way.
Steve and Robin, I'd like to join your family and all of your friends in wishing you the best of luck. I hope that when you watch this videotape in the years to come, it brings back some good memories. So Robin and Steve, here's to you.